It was an ordinary day at a small-town McDonald's, bustling with first responders enjoying a quick meal. But when a familiar figure, none other than Elon Musk, walked in, the mundane turned extraordinary. What unfolded next was something no one in that room could have anticipated. This McDonald's, nestled on a quiet corner, was a regular pit stop for first responders, police officers, firefighters, and paramedics, grabbing a bite between their demanding shifts. The lunch rush had ebbed, leaving a relaxed atmosphere filled with the soft hum of chatter and the occasional clatter of trays. Everyone was enjoying their break, preparing to head back to work. Then, just after noon, the door opened with a soft chime. At first, no one paid it much attention. People came and went as usual. But as the man who entered moved toward the counter, a few heads began to turn. He was tall and casually dressed in a plain t-shirt and jeans, but there was an undeniable aura about him. Soon, recognition spread through the room. "Is that Elon Musk?" an EMT whispered to his colleague. His friend laughed it off at first, dismissing it with a wave. "Here? No way. What would Elon Musk be doing in a McDonald's out here?" But the more they looked, the harder it was to deny. It was Elon Musk, the visionary behind Tesla and SpaceX, the billionaire entrepreneur launching rockets and revolutionizing technology. As surreal as it seemed, he was there, standing at the counter, ready to order like any other customer. The quiet buzz in the restaurant grew louder as more people recognized him. Some exchanged wide-eyed glances, while others discreetly pulled out their phones to snap a photo. Yet, Musk appeared completely at ease, unbothered by the growing attention. He stepped up to the counter, smiled at the cashier, and casually placed his order. "I'll have a quarter-pounder with cheese, large fries, and a Coke." The cashier, momentarily stunned to find herself face-to-face with one of the world's most famous entrepreneurs, froze briefly before ringing up the order. Then Musk added, with a playful grin, "Oh, and can I pay with Dogecoin?" The cashier blinked, caught between amusement and uncertainty, before responding with a nervous laugh. "Sorry, we only take credit." Musk chuckled, handed over his card, and moved aside to wait for his food, completely unfazed by the collective amazement around him. After what felt like an eternity of hesitation, one brave firefighter finally approached him, curiosity getting the better of him. Trying to sound casual, he asked, "So, what brings you to a McDonald's in the middle of nowhere?" Musk glanced up from his phone, smiled warmly, and shrugged. "I've been traveling a lot lately, and sometimes you just want something simple," he replied. Then, with a playful smirk, he added, "Besides, McDonald's makes a pretty good burger." The firefighter chuckled, and with that, the tension in the room seemed to dissolve. Suddenly, Elon Musk wasn't just a billionaire tech mogul. He was a guy grabbing lunch like anyone else. As the ice broke, more people started to join the conversation. A firefighter, a bit bolder than the first, asked, "So what's next? Another rocket to Mars?" Musk laughed lightly, clearly accustomed to such questions. "Actually, yeah, we're working hard on making that happen. But today is just about burgers." His down-to-earth response surprised everyone. He transitioned seamlessly from talking about space exploration to discussing fast food, and he made it all seem perfectly natural. He didn't try to command the spotlight or make the moment about himself. He appeared genuinely interested in engaging with those around him. From a nearby table, a paramedic chimed in, admiration evident in his voice. "I've got to ask, how do you manage it all? Tesla, SpaceX, Neuralink, and now X. Do you even sleep?" Musk chuckled again. "I get that question a lot." "Yeah, I sleep. Not much, but enough," he replied thoughtfully. "When you're passionate about what you do, you find the energy. But honestly, I try to keep things simple when I can. Today I'm just here for the burger." His humble, matter-of-fact answer drew laughter from the crowd. What had been a quiet McDonald's had transformed into an impromptu Q&A session with Musk, who didn't seem to mind at all. The first responders, initially hesitant, were now fully engaged, peppering him with questions as if he were an old friend. He responded to each one with calm sincerity, sprinkling in humor and insights along the way. One police officer, clearly amused by the surreal encounter, joked, "Ever thought about opening a Tesla drive-thru? We'd save a ton on gas." Musk grinned. "Hey, you never know. We're always exploring new ideas. Electric fast food joints might be the next big thing." The room erupted into laughter. And then, something unexpected happened. As the laughter subsided, the mood in the room shifted slightly. The casual banter had built a genuine connection between Musk and the group of first responders. Seizing the moment, one firefighter posed a more serious question. "Do you ever think about how your work might impact people like us?" he asked, his voice thoughtful. "I mean, the things you're doing, rockets, electric cars, AI, how do you think they affect what we do out here on the ground?" The room fell silent. This wasn't your typical fanboy question. It was a question that carried immense significance. Why? Because these weren't just enthusiasts captivated by space exploration or electric vehicles. These were first responders, individuals who confronted life and death daily, relying on technology to perform their duties, save lives, and safeguard others. The Tesla founder took a moment to pause, his expression thoughtful as he carefully considered the weight of the question. His eyes scanned the room, taking in the faces of the uniformed men and women who had gathered. They were no longer merely curious spectators. They had become part of a deeper dialogue, one that surpassed expectations. "You know," he began slowly, his tone reflective, "I don't think I've ever thought about it that way until now." A brief silence followed as his words hung heavily in the air. "I mean, I've always focused on the future, on creating things that push society forward. Space travel, sustainable energy, AI. But seeing all of you here, it strikes me that the future isn't just about technology. It's about people. It's about ensuring that what we create supports the ones who work the hardest to protect us." He paused, his gaze moving around the room again, but this time his eyes lingered on each individual, almost as though he was truly seeing them for the first time. "I've always believed technology can transform lives," he continued, "but seeing all of you here reminds me that no matter how advanced our innovations become, it's still people. People like you, who are on the front lines, ensuring the rest of us are safe." A firefighter, visibly moved by Musk's heartfelt words, nodded and spoke with a shaky voice. "We just do our jobs, but sometimes you wonder if what you're doing matters in the long run. I mean, we don't build rockets or change the world like you do." Musk seemed deeply affected by this statement. Shaking his head, his expression grew serious. "No, you're wrong about that," he said firmly. "You're out there saving lives, putting yourselves in harm's way every day. What I do wouldn't mean anything if people like you weren't here to protect us. What you do is just as important, if not more." His words landed heavily. You could see it in the faces of the first responders. They were accustomed to casual thanks and polite nods of appreciation, but this felt different. Musk wasn't merely thanking them. He was affirming their critical role in shaping the future he envisioned. Then, unexpectedly, Musk reached into his pocket and pulled out his phone. He stared at it momentarily, as if weighing a decision, before looking back at the group. "You know, there's something I can do," he said, his voice quieter, but his determination unmistakable. "I don't want this to be just another moment where I say thank you and move on. I want to do something that makes a real difference." He stepped out of that same McDonald's, but instead of simply getting into his car and leaving, he began typing rapidly on his phone. For a few moments, no one knew what was happening. The store fell into silence, with everyone watching him intently, waiting. Seeing Elon Musk enter a McDonald's filled with first responders was surprising enough, but what happened next was even more unexpected. "All right," he said, slipping the phone back into his pocket. "It's done. I just donated." Now, you might think this was a routine gesture, but it wasn't. This donation was substantial enough to provide brand new equipment for every fire station and police department, not just in the town, but throughout the entire region. "Whatever you need, consider this my way of saying thank you for everything you do," Musk said. The room was stunned. For a moment, no one spoke, as though they were struggling to comprehend what had just occurred. Then, gradually, the disbelief gave way to a surge of emotion. Some of the first responders exchanged astonished glances, while others quietly wiped away tears. What Musk had done wasn't merely a grand gesture. It was a profound acknowledgement of their efforts, sacrifices, and the risks they faced every day. Most importantly, his action meant these individuals could now perform their jobs with the reassurance that they would return home to their families. One paramedic, overwhelmed with emotion, finally broke the silence. "You didn't have to do that," she said, her voice trembling. Musk offered a gentle smile, his tone resolute. "No, I didn't have to, but I wanted to. What you do matters, and if I can help, even in a small way, I want to." Once again, the room fell silent, but this time, it wasn't filled with awe or curiosity. Instead, it was filled with something far more powerful, a deep, shared understanding. It was a moment of connection between the man working to build the future and those risking everything to protect the present. As the surge of emotions began to settle, it became evident that this wasn't just another chance meeting with a celebrity. What had initially seemed like an unremarkable lunch visit had evolved into something deeply significant. Musk had forged a genuine connection with these first responders, demonstrating that, despite the world he navigates, one filled with billion-dollar enterprises, rockets, and electric vehicles, he recognized the value of the work being done in that humble McDonald's. One by one, the first responders approached Musk, not seeking selfies or autographs, but to shake his hand and express their gratitude. Not just for the generous donation, but for his acknowledgement of their crucial role in society. "Honestly," Musk remarked as he prepared to leave, "I came here for a burger, but I'm leaving with much more. You've given me a lot to reflect on." As he walked toward the door, the first responders stood silently, watching him go, still absorbing the significance of what had just transpired. In that fleeting moment, they weren't thinking about his vast wealth or global fame. Instead, they were struck by the fact that he had truly listened to them, understood them, and shown them that their work mattered, even to someone whose life seemed worlds apart from their daily struggles. The group of first responders offered their thanks in the only way they could, erupting into a heartfelt round of applause. As the door swung shut behind him, one of the police officers turned to his colleagues, a bemused smile spreading across his face. Shaking his head in disbelief, he chuckled. "Well, that's not something you see every day." With that, the room gradually returned to its usual buzz of conversation, though the atmosphere remained charged with the energy of what had just unfolded. It wasn't just the fact that Elon Musk had stepped into McDonald's. It was the fact that he had left behind a profound impact, one that gave these individuals renewed strength and motivation to keep doing what they do best, protecting and serving their community.